Well, guys, does this even really surprise you? If you guys are watching on a video here, you guys can see this title here. Montana ranch owned by news mogul Rupert Murdoch feeds cows seaweed to curb farts. Now, guys, we know, man, that the left does not really want people eating beef, even though we have been consuming meat throughout our history. Okay, it is ancestrally appropriate to actually eat meat. Now, Rupert Murdoch, man, he's the owner of Fox Corp, which is also Fox News. And this guy is definitely woke on the climate. I've been saying it for a while, guys. We know that one of the main reasons why the left doesn't want people to eat meat is because they believe that the cow farts contribute to, you guessed it, climate change. Yeah. So, guys, what cows are supposed to be eating is grass. Yeah. Now, even your conventional meat that you find in the grocery store, that beef, for the most part, is actually fed grass. And then probably around the last 20% of their life, they'll be fed on grains and stuff like that. But Rupert Murdoch, man, he's went into a completely different direction here. Since he is woke on the climate, man, he's feeding cows something I don't believe they're supposed to be eating. I guess he's trying to make the cows unhealthy. Yeah, he's feeding them seaweed. Yeah, seaweed, not exactly the same as grass. Now, cows are supposed to be out on open pasture eating grass. Yeah, and I'm not a fan whatsoever of what they actually do to these animals in feedlots. It's disgusting. And guess what? You're eating that. More than likely, if you're actually shopping at your local grocery store. I mean, it's disgusting, man. But still, cows should be eating grass. Not so much here, guys. Says here, media mogul Rupert Murdoch's Matador Ranch in Dillon, Montana, is testing out a new method to reduce methane emissions from cattle using a species of seaweed harvested in Hawaii. Man, researchers from the University of California, Davis conducted a study to evaluate the seaweed's impact on grazing cattle. 24 beef steers of Angus and Agyu breeds are being studied, with one group given the seaweed supplements while the others are not. Researchers use solar-powered devices to dispense the supplements and measure methane emissions over the course of 10 weeks. The study found a nearly 40% reduction in methane emissions among cattle fed the seaweed. The study also claims there were no negative effects on the cow's health. Or wait, now, something's telling me, man, I highly doubt that. I mean, guys, we as humans, if we actually eat things we're not supposed to be eating, like processed foods and stuff like that, guess what? Our health gets bad. It just does. And it's the same thing, guys, with animals as well. You notice how if you actually go to the zoo, it tells you do not feed the animals? Because chances are, man, let's say you have a hot dog or something like that. And let's say you're looking at the monkeys and you actually give them hot dogs and bread and stuff like that. They're not supposed to be eating that. Why? Well, they'll probably end up getting diabetes from all that bread. Yeah. Now, when I was growing up, man, I remember going to Galveston Island. You actually took the ferry, and the seagulls would be flying over the ferry, and people would actually be feeding the seagulls bread all the time. That is not good for the health of those birds. Okay, it's just not. Refined carbohydrates like that, nah, not supposed to be eating that. Anyway, right here, Aramis Kabreb, the senior author of the study, and a professor in the Department of Animal Science celebrated the study's findings. Quote, "We need to make this seaweed additive or any feed additive more accessible to grazing cattle to make cattle farming more sustainable while meeting the global demand for meat," Kabrev stated. Livestock account for approximately 11% of global greenhouse gas emissions, with methane, a potent greenhouse gas, being the largest contributor, according to the UN's Food and Agricultural Organization. The seaweed used, I don't even know what this is, guys, Aspergillus taxiformis, was provided by Blue Ocean Barns, a Hawaii-based company that cultivates red seaweed in nutrient-rich waters. The company processes it into a feed additive called brominata, which cattle have shown a preference for in trials. The seaweed contains compounds from bromoform, which inhibit methane-producing microbes in the digestive systems of cattle. This reduces methane emissions during digestion, lowering the environmental impact of cattle farming, man. Quote, "The method paves the way to make a seaweed supplement easily available to grazing animals." He added that ranchers could induce the supplement via lip blots, ensuring ease of use. Man, how about this, man? Call me old-fashioned, call me a health nut. Why can't cattle just eat grass? Why not? Why can't they just be on the open pasture eating grass? Because, man, the wolves, man, they've taken over even the food that we consume. A lot of our food, guys, is poison. I'm just being real. I mean, there's nothing wrong with grass, man. Cows are meant to eat grass. You know something about cows, guys? I don't know if you guys notice or not. But when cows eat grass, they're lean and mean. They're muscle. And when you actually start feeding them other things besides grass, if you start feeding them soy and corn and all this stuff, guess what happens? They get fat. Yeah, they get fat. And that's the way they actually do it if you want a more marbled meat. You know, your steaks, your juicy steaks, that's from the cows getting fat on soy and corn. That kind of thing. But they're lean and mean when they eat grass. Man, I hope this doesn't catch on, man, with the rest of the world. These so-called seaweed supplements. Remember one time, folks, they actually told you that smoking was healthy for you. And we know that smoking is not healthy. It's just not. Just like Bit Food, they started telling you that butter and beef fat, tallow was bad for you, and that these canola and corn oils were actually good for you, when they're not. They're highly inflammatory, a whole bunch of linoleic acid, stuff that ain't good for you, man. So I wouldn't be surprised one day, man, unless there's massive changes here, that the FDA comes out and say, hey, that is perfectly okay to consume. Nah, man, I don't trust that. I do not trust that. I wouldn't be eating these cows, man. At least the cows in the store, for the most part, are still eating grass. These cows in this trial, seaweed. But hey, they got the results they wanted, right? Lower emissions. Because Rupert Murdoch is woke on the climate. Yeah. Gonna leave right there, guys. That's just my thoughts on this. What do you guys think of this? Black and White Network fans, let us know what you think about all this in the comments. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. And we'll catch you next time.